All right, so hello everyone. Today I'm joined by the New Mexico UFO Hunter. Welcome to the show, sir. Of
Thank you for having me.
course. So a few months ago, I found your page and really became immediately interested in the videos and experiences that you were posting up there. If you wouldn't mind just going in when you decide to officially create the New Mexico UFO Hunter page and for what reason?
Well, I had a very unusual encounter while camping that started this whole thing. It was a close encounter of the first kind.
Yeah.
And I'm a UFO buff. I,
Mhm.
I I keep my eyes to the sky all the time. I'm always looking and filming whatever I can. In any case, we continued to camp at this place, and there continued to be activity there.
Okay.
So with the activity, I started recording, and I thought, hey, this needs to get out. This needs to
Yeah.
get out to the public. So I created a Facebook page, and I started putting my videos on there. And I'm a beginner at all of this, so this is the new thing for me. And it turned into being a hobby, and I was very excited about that, and continued to pursue this. And I'm just adding more and more material because this is going on 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. So you said that you were kind of always a UFO buff, keeping your eyes to the sky. So do you remember how early that you were like interested or knew about the subject of UFOs or anything like that?
Well, I think I started getting interested when I heard about Chariot of the Gods.
Oh yeah, I know that
Yeah, do
book.
you remember that?
Yeah.
And that sparked my interest. But as a young child, I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I had an experience with some friends that made me curious.
Okay.
Okay, we were having a sleepover. We all sleep out in the summer at night with our sleeping bags and have fun. It's kind of like the girls do, but it's the guys do.
Yeah.
And we were sleeping out, and I was staring into the sky, and I saw a shadow come over us.
Okay.
It blocked out all the stars. It was, I guess, kind of invisible. I couldn't tell. You could see a distortion in the sky.
Uh-huh.
Came over us. It was fairly high, blocked out the stars. And I just kind of sat there thinking, what the heck was that? Did I just imagine something, or was
Uh-huh.
that? Yeah, yeah. So it started then, Chariots of the Gods. I got curious. There was a long time there that I didn't even think about it until something happens, and then you're like, oh my goodness, there's something
Yeah.
going on here. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
And
how I got started.
yeah, and then I'm guessing that was in New Mexico when you had that experience.
Yes, it was in Santa Fe.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Mhm.
up north. Nice. Um, so yeah, then so one of the things that is big on your channel is the fact that you've found a place that you believe is a UFO hotbed or a portal,
Yes,
perchance. Would you mind
yes.
taking me through your first UFO encounters at the place that you referred to as the portal?
Okay, so this story starts in 2020 when COVID started. And of course, everybody was staying home. They were all locked in. Nobody could go out. My wife and I like to camp,
Yeah.
and all the camping places in New Mexico were closed because of COVID. So we couldn't go anywhere. And we had a friend that had offered to let us camp at his property up in an area called
Hmm.
Abiquiu, New Mexico. And so we decided to go and check it out. We took a drive up there to take a look at it and see what we were facing. And we liked the area. So the following week, we decided to go camping. This was in late June.
All right.
And we got to the campsite. It was unimproved. This guy owns 10 acres up in this canyon. And we sat there all afternoon cleaning the area out, setting up our camp. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
Um, we set up our camp. We were exhausted. We ate dinner. We went to bed about 10 o'clock. And during my slumber, just as I was starting to fall asleep, I heard this really strange noise.
Hmm.
It sounded like a drone, but it sounded really deep.
Uh-huh.
Sounded like it was in distress.
Okay.
And I heard it for a brief moment, maybe about 3 or 4 seconds, and it went away, and I didn't think anything of it, and I went to sleep. Well, my wife heard the same thing without me knowing about it. We didn't
Yeah.
say anything about it, okay? So, approximately 2 weeks later, we decided to go camping again. This time we took, there were no events that happened that first day that we were
Okay.
aware
Hmm.
of, that first camping trip, excuse me.
Yeah.
Second camping trip was a couple of weeks later. We took my stepson and his wife,
Okay.
and it was nice. We had four of us. We got there, we set up the camp. This was on a Friday. Ate dinner and decided to sit around the campfire and tell stories.
Yeah.
Um, well, my son, um, stepson, I call him my son because he's that close to me.
Yeah.
Um, him and his wife are very religious people.
Okay.
So the thought of paranormal and the thought of UFOs and aliens to them is kind of foreign.
Mm.
They're not really accepted. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's kind of like, yeah, well, we'll believe it when we see it, right?
Yeah.
And so we were sitting around the campfire. I was telling them stories, telling them about the moon and all its crazy things going on with it and
Yeah.
UFOs and such. And they were just kind of looking at me with a smile, like, well, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
And we weren't drinking or anything because they don't drink alcohol and I don't either. So
Uh-huh.
we're having a really good conversation. And then all of a sudden we hear this noise. And it's the noise that I just described to you. Sounded like a drone, very, very deep. Sounded like it was in distress.
Yeah.
And it was echoing in the canyon. It was inside the canyon.
Hmm.
Now, you got to understand the canyons near Abiquiu some of them are very steep,
Okay.
as in an angle.
Yeah.
So you've got probably maybe 2,000 feet before you reach the top of Mesa.
Oh. Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we're inside a valley, okay? We're
Hmm.
inside the canyon. The canyon was very narrow. At some points, maybe 100 yards wide.
That's,
That's how narrow it was.
oh, wow.
Um, Sitting around the campfire, we all hear this noise. It was to the south of us,
Hmm.
coming up in the canyon. And we kind of look at each other like, what the heck is that? And then the reasoning starts to come in as to, well, that doesn't sound like an airplane.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, how can an airplane even get into this canyon, right? It's so narrow.
Hmm.
And then we're like, well, it's not a helicopter because we don't hear the rotor blades or anything like that. And as the sound starts getting closer, we all jump up from our seats and move around the campfire. We were in some trees. We
Yeah.
moved around the trees. There's a large clearing. And all of a sudden, this UFO appears over the treetops.
Yeah.
Now, this UFO is described as rectangular. It was
Uh-huh.
approximately 20 by 50 or 20 by 60.
Okay.
It had white lights on all the corners. It
Hmm.
had depth. I could see the depth in the dark.
Okay.
But what really interesting was the bottom of the aircraft had all these rows of green plasma lights. They
Yeah.
reminded me of floodlights. They were all
Okay.
in rows, and
Uh-huh.
there was well over 100 lights. Okay.
Okay.
This thing comes up upon us and over us. It's maybe 50 to 80 feet above us. That's
Okay.
what it was. It was right underneath us.
Yeah.
And we're not saying anything. We're all sitting there staring at it, freaking out as to what the heck we're
Yeah. Of
looking at here. We're kind of in shock and awe at the
course.
same time. The UFO making this noise. There was no distortion underneath us.
Yeah.
There was no wind. Um, just the noise and the aircraft moving slowly over us, and then it decides to proceed down the canyon, and we watched it until we couldn't see it anymore. Um, we all kind of just sat there and looked at each other and kind of laughed and said, "Did we just see a UFO?
Yeah.
What was that?"
Wow.
And a lot of people would be really scared. If you saw, what was the movie? Um, I can't think of the movie
Yeah.
right now, but it was about that Travis Walton
Oh yeah. Fire in the sky. Fire in the
fire
sky.
in the
Yeah.
sky. You saw
Yeah.
how close that UFO was to that guy. Well, that was almost
Yeah.
as close as that UFO was to us.
Okay.
And after it happened, we all looked at each other and just kind of laughed it off and talked about it and realized that what we saw was a UFO.
Yeah.
We were just in a little bit of shock and amazement as to what had happened. We went and we sat back down. Now, most people would think, what the heck are you doing? Get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just have a close encounter of the first guy with a UFO. Most people would be scared as hell and
Yeah.
get
Like
the
get
heck,
out of there.
yeah. And we sat there and we thought about it, and then we looked at each other and like, we're here for 4 days, and we just got here. We don't want to
Yeah.
leave. You know?
Turn around there.
So we got a braveness in us, and we decided to stay. We had weapons with us. We had
Yeah.
guns with us. We had floodlights, so we flooded the area with lights and kept our guns close to us, and we all went to bed. Of
Uh,
course, I know I didn't get much sleep that night, and I know my son-in-law and wife and his wife didn't get
yeah.
much sleep either because what had just happened.
Of course.
Um, the next day we start talking about it again, and we get into the religious part of it
Uh-huh.
because I have these religious people with me,
Uh-huh.
and now they're thinking a little bit differently about religion because we're supposed to be the only creatures in the
Yeah.
universe and all this stuff, and it wasn't the case. Obviously, there was something or somebody flying that craft.
Yeah.
Um, my only conclusion could be it was that it was aliens.
Uh-huh.
Well, this stayed in the back of our minds the rest of the trip. We talked about it periodically. On the final day, which was Sunday, we had gotten a terrific rain. It was already summertime, so it was really
Okay.
nice in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We shut down and let the rain take its course. And late afternoon, about 6 or so, there was a really beautiful sunset.
Yeah.
And my daughter-in-law decided to take pictures with her phone. And she was just snapping pictures of this really beautiful sunset and around the area. And she starts looking at the pictures, and lo and behold, there's a UFO in one
Yeah.
of the pictures. And I looked at her and I was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
This was a delta shaped UFO,
Mm-hmm.
but it had round corners. It's not like the TR3B.
Yeah, I know
Have
what
you
you're
heard
talking
about
about.
that?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
heard about that.
Didn't look like a TR3B in the photo, and
Okay.
that's on my Facebook page. It's one of the first photos I
Oh,
posted.
I think that yeah, I went through and I saw like a compilation kind of like all your like the best ones. And I think I've seen that one. That was like on a cell phone. It said like taken
Yeah.
with cell phone. Yeah, I remember seeing that one. Okay.
In addition, as she was looking through the pictures, she caught a second UFO.
Yeah.
This one was in the clouds, but it had a sharp point to it, a triangular shaped sharp point that was
Yeah.
sticking through the clouds.
Okay.
That's what we captured on her phone. And we
Yeah.
were like, holy moly, look at this. And we're sitting there, and that's like 3 different UFOs we encountered that weekend.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there like, well, we didn't know what to think. We really
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what to think. We were just in amazement, kind of blessed that this had happened to us,
Yeah.
uh, scared that this had happened to us.
Of course.
It left my mind spinning. I was just trying to figure out what the heck is going on here.
Yeah.
Got so many UFOs in this area, it's kind of scary, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what do you think about it? What do you think about all these UFOs out here? And we're just scratching our heads. Well, the camping trip ended. We ended up going home.
Yeah.
We talked about it some more. My wife and I liked the area, so we decided to go back
Of course.
camping again a couple of weeks later. And we had no special events happen to us. We didn't see any UFOs. We didn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I got my phone. I have a decent Samsung with a decent camera on it.
Yeah.
And I just started snapping pictures of all over the area, the sky, the canyons. And lo and behold, I captured more UFOs.
Yeah.
And this is when it really started to spark my interest because now I know that they're there. And
Hmm.
I'm like wondering why in the heck are these UFOs there? Different shapes, different sizes. You can't see them to the naked eye unless you're really lucky. I
Yeah.
think I've seen maybe two or three UFOs this whole time in the past 2 years that I've
Yeah.
actually visually
So with,
seen.
yeah, with your actual eyes and
Yeah. The
okay.
rest are all cloaked,
Hmm.
which makes them invisible, but not completely invisible.
Yeah.
It sets a distortion about the aircraft that I don't know, like the orbs, for instance, are fuzzy balls.
Yeah.
You look at them in the video, and they're fuzzy balls. They're either white, they're gray, or they're black.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm starting to capture all these different UFOs. Um, there were cigar shaped that I have
Yeah.
captured. There were the orbs. There were the spherical, typical UFO looking craft
Exactly.
there. Um, I've captured some delta shaped craft there. I
Yeah.
think in total I've calculated approximately 9 different types of UFOs that I've seen out there.
Yeah. Like,
So as I'm snapping these pictures of this area every time we go camping and I'm capturing more UFOs, I'm
mhm.
like, well, I need better equipment to do this with.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a decent Canon DSLR
Nice.
and ended up buying myself a telephoto lens
Hmm.
and started snapping more pictures. And I'm like, well, why am I snapping pictures when I could be taking video?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, well, will they come out in the video? So I start doing video of just different sections of the sky to see what
Yeah.
I could, because they're not in any one certain area in this canyon where they're at.
Yeah.
Above us, they're to the left of us, to the right of us, to the front of
Uh-huh.
us, back of us. This is how I've captured them all in this area. But they're in this one area. They're not further out because we've taken video pictures like half a mile to a mile away.
Yeah.
um, And nothing, 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 nothing. But when we come in this one certain area, that's where all these UFOs are.
Uh-huh.
As I was doing video over the months, I captured one area that had the most activity, and I thought this could be the portal that they're coming in and out of.
Yeah.
Um, at some point, I was capturing probably 10, 15 UFOs coming in and out of this area within a 15-minute span of video.
Yeah.
So there were just constantly coming in and out of this area.
Hmm.
And I was just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
We had a couple of incidences there. Um, the first one I called the Great Hat Incident, and that's on my Facebook.
Yeah. That one was one of the ones I was looking at.
This picture I had snapped on my phone, and I had actually captured approximately 20 UFOs in that picture.
Yeah.
They were doing something that was really strange. There's one central UFO that reminded me of what it looked like. It looked like a captain's hat.
Oh, like yeah. So I
It's
know what you're
tied like
talking
this.
about.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's just not on the top back like this.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. So I was like, that's what I'm going to call it.
Hmm.
Um, it was sitting right above the mesa where we were at, and there were all these other UFOs interacting with it.
Uh-huh.
And I was just amazed at this picture, and I wanted to get it out. So what I did was I contacted MUFON.
Yeah. I think I saw that you had said that you had contacted them. So that's the Mutual UFO Network, I believe.
That's what it is, yes, sir.
Excellent.
And MUFON took a look at it. They had the local people from MUFON. I think it was the assistant director that looked at my UFO case, and she called the UFO an airplane.
Oh.
It was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. This doesn't
Yeah.
look anything like an airplane. I told her, what about all the other UFOs? And she couldn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
We wrote it off as an airplane, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I
Yeah.
started researching into MUFON,
Mhm.
and I don't want to deal with them anymore because they are related to our government.
Yeah.
Um, from what I understand, they are a reporting agency, that they're first line of reporting for the federal government. So they get a video. This is my understanding of it anyway.
Yeah.
They get a picture of or a video of a UFO, and they took a look at it. And if it's worthy, then they send it on to our government. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
it's a CIA, the military, whomever.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want any government affiliation with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a patriot. I'm a veteran. I love my country to death. I
Mhm.
would do anything for it, but I don't trust our government.
Yeah.
This is why I haven't gone to the government about my situation,
Uh-huh.
because this is newsworthy. This is um, worth reporting,
Well, yeah.
because it's continuing to happen. It's not stopping.
Mhm.
We've been going there for over 2 years, and it continues to happen. It
Yeah.
was probably going on before we went, and I know it was because I talked to some of the ranchers out there, and
Yeah.
they finally came forward to me and expressed their feelings on the situation, and that they have encountered strange stuff out there as well.
Yeah.
There's farmland and ranch land out in this canyon, so trying to talk to the locals out there is really hard unless you can relate to them,
Mhm.
because they climb up. They don't want to say anything about this. It's just like shh, shh, shh.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case with me. I was able to get close to a couple of the locals there and share experiences with them, and they shared their experiences with me about UFOs, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this has been going on a while in this area.
Yeah.
Um, I've captured some really, really, really interesting UFO things. The Great Hat Incident, which I told you about.
Yeah.
I didn't get any video of that, unfortunately, and I wish I did. But there were other things like, I don't know what I called it on my video, but we had probably 2 dozen orbs come and visit
Oh,
us.
yeah. I think you said the swarm, or I saw one video that said swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Totally amazing. When I looked at the video at first, I thought, well, these are flies.
Uh-huh.
There's a bunch of flies around, and this is what
Yeah.
is
And your
captured.
camera's picking them up or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I didn't look at the video any further. When we're camping, I go a little bit with the technology when we go camping, because I take my computer with me.
Yeah.
I take my camera. We have electricity out there because
Oh,
this is
nice.
and it's got electricity on his property. So we
Okay.
use the electricity. I take my Alienware computer, and I take the camera, and I can connect the two together, and I can view the video through the computer. So I can be
Excellent.
sitting down next to my nice camp area here. I don't have to be sitting there babysitting the camera and such.
Yeah.
And so I captured this swarm, and it was there for a little bit. I didn't think anything about it. I did a preliminary look on it. Didn't think it was much of anything. I thought it was flies.
Yeah.
Brought it home, started editing the video, and then that's when I discovered they were UFOs.
Yeah.
They were orbs. There were dozens and dozens of them. They were doing formations in the
Yeah.
sky. They were trying to communicate to me.
Hmm.
Um, there were delta shapes, and these were three-dimensional delta shapes that they were creating in the sky.
Yeah.
These UFO, there would be 3 or 4 of them coming together, and they would create a delta shape that had depth to it.
Yeah.
Rotate,
That's crazy. Yeah.
and then they would move on, and they would create something else, and they would all sit there, and they would all rotate with it, and then they
Yeah.
leave, then they go and they create something else. The reason why I discovered that these were UFOs, because they were coming in and out of the clouds.
Yeah.
Flies don't do that.
No. Oh, yeah. And yeah,
So
doing that formations intelligently. Like
yeah,
that's
and I've got this, and I'm sitting there like, wow, this is just totally amazing.
mhm.
Um, a lot of the video that I capture is just totally amazing because I could see it in great detail here with my computer.
Yeah.
And a lot of these objects are far in the sky, or they're way in the altitudes.
Hmm.
Uh, Sometimes they just come up as a little dot, or there's something more to them. Um, the aircraft that I think that really behave weird are the orbs, the white orbs,
Yeah.
because their flight pattern is just really erratic. It's
Yeah.
not smooth like some of these other UFOs that streak across the sky.
Yep.
Um, they do weird, they leave weird trails in the sky, is all I
Yeah.
can say. They're like how a fly would move
Uh-huh.
instead of going this way. And you can tell they're a UFO because you see the white fuzz ball moving.
Yeah.
In fact, this past Friday, we took a secret trip up to the portal,
Yeah.
and I caught one of those orbs flying across the sky, and I'm going to post it on my Facebook page
Excellent.
shortly. So you can see what I mean. You can see
Hmm.
that they don't move. The majority of all the other UFOs do move in a normal pattern. It's just the orbs that don't.
Yeah.
Um, I did some refining on some of the video and some of the pictures of the orbs that I've captured to see exactly what they are. I threw some filters on them
Yeah.
and changed up the background a little bit. I didn't do anything to the actual object itself. I
Yeah.
just wanted to see if I could bring anything out of it.
Yeah.
And I, after doing this filtering on a specific orb, there was something black inside of this orb. It
Uh-huh.
looked like something literally sitting down.
Okay.
This orb looked like it was a one-man craft, and there
Yeah.
was something sitting down in it. This is what I captured,
Yeah.
and I was totally amazed with that. I'm like, oh my God, there's something or somebody inside these craft.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that them coming to visit me like that was just really, really bizarre. Um, it seems like they come around whenever I go to that campsite.
Yeah.
A lot of them literally play with a camera. I've caught probably three or four, at least three or four UFOs where they come into the picture frame,
Yeah.
they do a U-turn, and then they turn
Mhm.
out. And
Yeah.
it's like they know that I'm watching and they go right into the camera frame.
Yeah.
Crazy, just crazy.
See, that's awesome.
So yeah. So now I've become a camera buff, a video buff. I'm out there
Yeah.
videoing all the time. Um, this past Friday when we went, my wife was inside the truck,
Hmm.
and it was cold out there. There was snow out there.
Yeah.
Um, I got my camera out there, and it was really nice when you're out in the sun. But when the wind hits you, you're sitting there like,
Yeah. Yeah. You got yep.
and I was out there just checking out the sky and the scenery. It was a really nice day. And all of a sudden, I heard this high toned pitch um, around me. It was like kind of like a whistle, just very high, but very intense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is that noise? So I start exploring. I thought it was coming from the truck. It was not. It was not
Yeah.
my phone. I looked at my camera. It was not my camera. And I could literally feel this thing pulsing through me.
Yeah.
This sound was literally coming through me. I could feel it.
Uh-huh.
It was like, what the heck is that? I'm trying to see now if I captured it on film. I think I did. The
Yeah.
sound. Um,
That'd be good. Yeah.
I'd been when we went up there, we'd gone a couple of times before and we didn't see any UFOs. And that was because I wasn't filming in the right area.
Yeah.
I film where I think I know there's going to be UFOs, but they're all over the place. You have to get lucky.
Yeah.
You have to be in the right spot at the right time in order to capture these. And all I'm doing is putting my camera out there, turning on the video and letting the video run.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I'm not really physically moving the camera around and such.
Yeah. You're not trying to find them specifically.
Yeah,
You're just trying to.
yeah. I just turn it on and I let it run its course with the memory chip in it. And once
Yeah.
it stops, I go and I change the memory chip and go to a different area. And that's how I'm filming.
Uh-huh.
So you have to get lucky to see these.
Yeah.
But I'm always lucky because they're always there. If they're not in one area, they're in another area. And this particular area where I captured all these craft were right above us.
Yeah.
I had turned the camera towards where they usually come in and out of, and I didn't find anything. I went all along the mesa and I didn't find anything, so I decided to turn the camera above us, which I've done before several times, and always captured something strange.
Yeah.
In this particular case, that's how I had the swarm visit us. I had the camera right above us.
Hmm.
So they're above us.
Yeah.
They know we're there. They don't make themselves known. And this goes back again to the close encounter of the first kind. Let me skip back to that just for a little bit.
Of course.
Um, we don't believe we got abducted.
Hmm.
There was no time lapse for us or anything like
Yeah.
that.
No missing time or anything.
Yeah, we all talked about it and we were like, well, I don't think we got abducted. And we're like sitting there wondering, well, why in the heck did this UFO come over us and make its presence known?
Hmm.
And that's been one of the biggest questions on my mind. And I've done a lot of studying and thinking on the situation. And UFOs don't make themselves known to people unless there's a reason.
Hmm.
Um, Personally, I don't think the aliens in that craft liked us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, because otherwise, I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of abduction going on here. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. It's really, really, really crazy.
Yeah.
So, that leaves a huge thought in your mind when you have an experience like that as to why didn't they interact with us or
Hmm.
do something strange or abduct us or anything like that. I'm glad we didn't get abducted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to get abducted. I have my gun with us every time that we go out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to engage with aliens if I can help it, unless I know that they're extremely friendly.
Yeah.
Um, I've been studying alien species for a while now,
Yeah.
and it seems like the Greys are always involved. And I hope we don't encounter any Greys because, as I understand it, the majority of them are mean, bad.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, they
supposed to
got
be
an
something nefarious about them, right?
yeah,
And
got
just
an evil intention. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm wondering, what are piloting all these different craft?
Yeah.
There's all these different craft out there, and some of these are huge,
Well,
huge.
yeah.
We had the incident with the mothership
Yes.
got on my Facebook page,
Hmm.
and my camera shoots 45 frames per second.
Okay.
And what I do is I go and I check these videos frame by frame by frame by frame.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do in order to catch these UFOs.
Uh-huh.
So when I do a video, I put it on and I look at it initially to see if I could see anything flying through the screen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you catch the UFOs going slow. The majority of the time, it's just a quick zip.
Yeah. Zip through.
And then when I see that, then I can slow it down and go through it frame by frame to see exactly what it is.
Hmm.
And I take pictures of all these frames and then I edit and put it into my YouTube page. On the mothership incident, the mothership showed up in only one frame,
Yeah.
um, which I found, it just blew me away when I found it. I was like, my Lord, what is that?
Yeah.
Um, the mothership, um, the story goes is that I was looking at the video and I noticed a lot of these white orbs cutting across from the left to the right of the sky.
Yeah.
And I thought that this might be something coming off the trees because there's cottonwoods up there and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And that was my explanation for it, was it was cottonwood initially, until I started looking at it frame by frame by frame by frame. And I'm like, oh my God, these aren't cottonwood fluff.
Yeah.
These are white orbs or orbs.
Hmm.
You see the orbs in the sky all the time. They're round.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're silver, gray, black, or white, from what I've seen up here.
Yeah.
And these were white initially, and then when they came into the sun, you could see them as like a silver or gray orb.
Hmm.
They came in very clear, but they were coming across the sky from left to right, and there were multiple
Yeah.
craft. It was like a visitation.
Uh-huh.
It was downright scary. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
The next thing I noticed is a jet coming into frame.
Yeah.
It's flying in the sky. And I'm like, cool. Well, I like to catch things like this in the background for comparison,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it kind of validates what you're seeing.
Yeah.
You
You're
know what
like,
I'm
well,
saying?
it's not a plane because there's a plane right there. And
Right, right. And you can compare the two.
yeah.
And it gives you some sense of acknowledgement.
Hmm.
knowing that, hey, this isn't an aircraft, it's not a figment of my imagination. There's actually a white orb or silver or gray orb out there.
Yeah.
They were going across, and I'm watching this video, and all of a sudden the mothership shows up in one frame. This thing was huge. You
Yeah.
could probably put 1,000 of those jet airliners into it.
Yeah.
And the white orbs were right next to it. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this. It was just outrageous.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck are all these UFOs doing here?
Yeah.
Why are they in this one specific spot? Why? I worked up in Los Alamos for 20 years. I retired in Los Alamos as a network and a computer technician and security expert. And the conclusion that I could come up with was maybe they're there because of Los Alamos and everything going on there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do or don't know about Los Alamos, but that was the first place they made the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And Los Alamos stores all the nuclear secrets,
Mm-hmm.
all of them, from the testing onward.
Yeah.
And I think they say that aliens like to hang around nuclear facilities.
Yes. Yes, they do.
That before or not. And this is what I surmised, is that they were doing the same, because the UFOs, I gathered, are approximately 20 miles or so away from Los Alamos. And
Yeah.
up in the altitudes, they could get a beautiful view of it without having to be near it.
Uh-huh.
I encountered what I thought was a UFO incident while I was up in Los Alamos. I worked at a place called DART.
Okay.
DARHT.
Okay.
It's the dual axis radiograph hydro test, I think is what they call it, testing facility.
Mm-hmm.
And since we could no longer detonate nuclear weapons, well, proliferation came into place.
Okay.
And they needed a place where they could test nuclear weapons without detonating them in the atmosphere or on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So they do this at DART. They test the reliability of our nuclear weapons. They test what the explosions are doing. They can do it in a really micro small atmosphere.
Okay.
And this place DART, you can see on the internet and on YouTube.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I would encourage anybody to take a look at it and see what it's all about.
DART.
Very sophisticated.
Okay.
So on one particular occasion, I was having to work at night because we were having what they called a night detonation.
Yeah.
They were actually going to do a test at night, and it involves explosives.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty intense explosive because there's beryllium involved.
Okay.
This kind of thing. We have to be at a distance. And myself and some of the other crew were sitting outside waiting for this detonation to happen. We wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
And I noticed this bright light in the sky. And I looked at my comrades and I told them, I said, look at that. I said, that does not look normal. That's not any star or planet.
Yeah.
You know it because it stayed in that one spot. It did not move. And we were out there probably for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Didn't move. It stayed there. So we found that to be really, really, really odd. But this is something these UFOs do. So yeah, I think maybe it might have something to do with Los Alamos. That's my best guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the story goes is that I still continue to go up there. We go up there for picnics.
Yeah.
We only spend a couple of hours up there because it's a drive. It takes us probably 2.5, 3 hours to get there.
Yeah.
So we only have about 2 or 3 hours to do any filming and eat and just enjoy ourselves. And then we come back home.
Yeah.
We do that during the winter because it's just too cold to camp out there anyway.
Yeah.
And my trips are always fruitful. I always capture UFOs for the most part.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of times that I haven't, but I think it's just because I haven't been at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Okay. This is scary.
Yeah.
This is really scary because this is going on in our neighborhood. And these are a lot of UFOs. Now, people think, oh, this is a joke or whatever, but think about it seriously. what are the aliens doing in our neighborhood over here?
Yeah.
You know, you've got places here in New Mexico that have UFO activity. That mountain up in Dulce,
Yes.
that's got the base supposedly underneath it.
Hmm.
I am a firm believer that these UFOs are definitely underground.
Yes.
In this area that I'm at, I discovered what I believe is where they're coming, where the UFOs are coming in and out of, is inside this canyon. They're
Yeah.
disappearing in this canyon. Um, I've tried to make a hike up there to scope out this canyon, and it's extremely difficult. I didn't succeed.
Yeah.
So it's a good place for them to hide because I mean,
Hmm.
trying to get to this area is really, really, really
Yeah.
difficult. No trails or nothing. You're trailblazing. You're going up an extremely
Yeah. Like rugged terrain,
yeah, just
steep.
really, really rocky, steep. You have to watch for snakes and cactus
Oh,
and all this.
yeah.
Yeah, just really crazy. We ended up walking up to trying to get to the top of the mesa,
Hmm.
and we ended up facing a large canyon wall. So we were stopped at that point.
Yeah.
We had to get back down. We planned to scale it again this year.
Yeah.
Um, I'm currently trying to exercise for it to get up
Yeah.
even
Get
better.
ready for.
Yeah. I'm an older guy. I'm already headed on 60 years old. So
Hmm.
it's difficult for me. I mean, for a young guy
Yeah.
like you, it would be an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
My stepson can scale it without problems, but I want to see what's on that other side.
Of
Um,
course.
I've looked at it through Google Earth so
Yeah.
many times, and I can't figure out how they're getting into the mountain. I
Hmm.
believe that there is the possibility of a tunnel running from there to Los Alamos,
Yeah.
possibly even running to Dulce. I'm a firm believer in all these tunnels that are underneath us because I have seen tunnels
Yeah.
um, through Los Alamos and through my military experiences that went on forever.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, where in the heck are these tunnels going? But you have no idea,
Hmm.
right? One such tunnel I encountered at Curlin Air Force Base. I talked to you about it, the Manzano
Yeah.
Mountains.
Manzano.
Yeah,
I actually
which was
took the. Yeah.
you looked at.
Yeah. I looked it up and such. I found a lot of stuff just about. It was about just like that they stored a lot of. First, it was constructed to site Able in the 50s or the 40s, and then they used it to store like nuclear munitions,
Mhm.
from what I see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was there in the early 80s
Yeah.
as a munition system specialist. That was my first base assignment that I got after my tech school.
Excellent.
And I talked to one of the sergeants before I went out there, and he said it was a nuclear storage facility. I didn't have any idea until I got there. I was like, Herndon Air
Hmm.
Force Base? Come
Yeah.
on, that's Albuquerque, you know? I live
Yeah.
in Santa Fe. I've never seen a nuclear storage facility on Curlin Air Force Base or anywhere. Well, lo and behold, there's the Fort Hills area
Yeah.
just the east of Curlin Air Force Base. There are four little mountains.
Hmm.
They're all covered with high security fences. There's like 4 or 5 high security fences around them.
Yeah.
The little fence is charged with I don't know how many thousands of volts.
Yeah.
Um, it's powerful enough to pull you into it if you get near it, and
Oh,
it'll kill you.
yeah.
They had an incident where they had a high school student that was curious go out there, and he was killed because of that.
Yeah.
But it's impenetrable. They have over 360 security personnel working in that area.
Yeah.
This was back in the 80s, okay? It's now moved, but there's several igloos that go into the mountain,
Yep.
probably well over 100. And in each of these igloos are stored nuclear weapons, from the simple bombs that just the warhead
Yeah.
to the complete missiles themselves.
Uh-huh.
Um, I saw almost anything and everything that's in the arsenal. I touched almost anything and everything that's in the arsenal. I could say that if we had a nuclear war, I probably touched one of the nuclear heads that was involved in it.
Yeah.
Just thousands of these,
That's
thousands of
crazy.
nuclear. Yeah. This is one of the main storage facilities in the United States. There were three at the time.
Yeah.
Um, other one was Pantex. Have you heard of Pantex?
No.
This is,
Pantex.
yeah, this is in Texas.
Okay.
This is where they make the nuclear weapons.
Okay.
Okay. In any case, I worked out there at Manzano Base, and there's this one area that's a facility.
Yeah.
It's not an igloo for storing weapons. And you walk into the facility and you go through a couple of doors and down some halls, and you come to this hallway that just goes forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, you couldn't see the end of it. And it was lit up all
Yeah.
the way down.
Yeah. And you
Huge,
just see that.
huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge, huge. And it really puzzled me. I was like, well, that's really strange. Why is there this long hallway in this area? What purpose does it serve?
Yeah. And so just like you were looking down this hallway, is there like was there any like carts or anything like people going up and down it, or is it just never
No,
touched?
it was just huge, a huge hallway,
Hmm.
straight lights all the way down. You couldn't see the end of it. And this was headed, the hallway was headed, I want to say northwest.
Yeah. So from Albuquerque.
Alamos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the direction of Los Alamos. So, I'm just guessing here. I don't know for sure that these
Hmm.
tunnels, but it seems plausible to me. It really, really, really does.
Well, yeah, if you've seen them firsthand too.
Yeah. And Los Alamos, the same thing. They say, being there 20 years, um, I met a lot of people, including security personnel, because we're in high security areas anyway. I have
Yeah.
security the whole 9
Hmm.
yards. Um, Trying to get into these areas, there's just a ton of security. And I made friends with a lot of these security personnel. I knew a lot of them personally.
Yeah.
And I asked them the story about the alien. And the story goes is that there's a dead alien out at TA-33, which is one of
Uh-huh.
the technical areas out there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the aliens from the Roswell crash.
Okay.
And this is coming from the security person,
Uh-huh.
which I believe. I've heard this story before, but when you have your friends telling you that it's real, that they have to keep this place secure.
Yeah.
One of the people I knew worked inside um, the operations room where, they assign all the personnel and stuff, and they're on the
Hmm.
radio constantly with them and stuff. And she had told me that periodically they would have an alarm go off in this area,
Yeah.
and they weren't allowed to be anywhere near it when it went off. They would have to call somebody from Washington to come
Uh-huh.
down and take care of the situation. And this
Okay.
is where this alien is supposedly held. Okay. It's
Okay.
dead. It's
Uh-huh.
dead. So, I don't know if they got it in deep freeze and something went wrong with the freezers or something.
Yeah.
But she would tell me periodically this would happen, and they would have to call out to Washington to get somebody down here to look at it. Really strange.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean,
And without any, yeah, like any warning or like reasoning as to why they're like, well, huh.
yeah. So, this follows into it a little bit. I
Yeah.
saw a couple of UFOs while I was in the military. One particular situation out in Korea when I was stationed out at Osan Air Base.
Oh, wow.
We were doing night training, was working at night. I used to work the graveyard, and we saw a set of really strange red and green lights hovering near the flight line. And the only reason why we were aware of that was because it came over the radio where we were at,
Hmm.
um, stating that security was on alert, that there was something in the air and they didn't know what it was. So we went out to look at it, and yeah, lo and behold, it looked like a UFO to us, just slowly moving around the area.
Uh-huh.
And it eventually disappeared, but the base went on alert.
Yeah.
When the base goes on alert, then you know something's going
Yeah.
on. That was just one of the UFO encounters. My most of my UFO encounters are me keeping an eye to the sky and seeing if I could run into something strange. I always wish I had a camera with me because I'm always catching stuff in the sky.
Yeah.
Even here in my neighborhood, I had one incident where it was during the daytime, and I was walking to the mailbox, which about 50 yards away from my house. And as I was
Yeah.
walking and looking in the sky, I noticed an orb, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, look, there's an orb in the sky." And I kept it to myself, and I walked up on one of my neighbors. He's an older
Yeah.
man, older gentleman. And I said, "Do you have your sunglasses on?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Look up there." I said, "There's a UFO."
Yeah.
And he looked up there and he's all like, "Dang if it isn't, dang if it isn't. What is that?"
Yeah.
It's a UFO.
Yeah.
And, I take it kind of nonchalant. I'm not afraid of them.
Hmm.
Um, I take it really easy when it comes to UFOs, and I think most people would panic or be amazed or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of find my attitude a little weird. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it. I should be more freaked out and more
Hmm.
hyper and more, oh my God, what are we gonna do? But I don't panic.
Yeah.
They're there. There's nothing we can do about it. There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do about
Well,
it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do is this is my little gift to me, I guess, in this world. I want to be able to get this information out.
Yeah.
I want to get it to the public. I want to get it all over the public so that they can understand that there is a UFO portal in northern New Mexico, and
Yeah.
there's active aircraft coming in and out of it 24/7.
Hmm.
Why in the hell are they here? What are they doing?
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
completely.
it people are, well, where is it? Where is it? Where is this place? All I can tell you is that it's northern New Mexico and that it's near Abiquiu. I
Hmm.
won't tell you anything more than that because this is private property.
Yeah.
We want this to get out, and then there'd be all kinds of crazy people and fanatics out at this
Yeah.
area. This guy is gracious enough to lend us his land to camp on.
Yeah.
So, I'm in close contact with him about this situation and everything that goes on. He's
Hmm.
just amazed by it. He really
Yeah.
is. He's like, "And we never had any idea that this was going on." The neighbors, the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, he has neighbors to the left of him and to the right of him. And the neighbors to the right of them are priests. I believe
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jesuits. I don't know for sure
Hmm.
what denomination they are. I know that they're from Germany.
Okay.
Um, but very strange.
Yeah.
They're usually always wearing black,
Okay.
long black robes, very
Yeah.
airy type robes. They have long hair.
Yeah.
Um, we see them walking sometimes along the road that we drive, and it looks weird. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, they're very tall.
Hmm.
Um, we had an encounter with one of the priests. It was one of the nights that we were camping,
Yeah.
and there was a priest up on the canyon, up part of the mesa. He
Yeah.
was watching us at night. He was
That is right.
watching.
Yeah.
And what happened was we saw his flashlight.
Hmm.
And so right away we got up from the campfire and we got our guns and we're like, we
Yeah. Like, who's this?
flashlights, and we're like, what the heck is this light up on the canyon here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Um, it started moving across and we yelled. We're like, hey, who's up there? We're gonna shoot you if you don't tell us who's up there.
Yeah.
And he's, hey, 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 this is Father so and so.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the heck are you doing watching us?
Yeah.
We told him we're armed, don't come close to us,
Yeah.
get away from The next day, we're out there, my wife and I are talking, and he walks up to the camp. We didn't hear him.
Oh,
Scared
yeah.
the crap out of us.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him. Funny enough, come to think of it, this was during our first close encounter of the first kind. I think
Yeah.
this happened Saturday night. So we saw him Saturday night.
Yeah.
That Sunday he came up to the camp and introduced himself to us.
Yeah.
Long, tall, spindly, long hair. They kind of look like hippies
Yeah.
with a lot of, and I know
See,
that
yeah.
the neighbors told me that they are priests. Um, I had a conversation with him and I told him, I said, didn't you hear that UFO the other night? He's like, UFO? We don't hear any UFOs. I said, don't you see UFOs or anything? No, we don't see any UFOs or,
Yeah.
just very evasive. We
Yeah.
found it to be very evasive and strange. And I came up with not a conclusion, but a thought that maybe these guys could be aliens, and
I
we
was
don't
gonna
know.
say that was that's actually what I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, so he's tall and they're kind of strange and they don't want to mention the UFOs and like what?
Yeah,
Kind of,
yeah.
yeah,
And I know that they're in a position to because we found they built a temple up
hmm,
on like maybe a quarter of the way up the canyon wall, not
yeah,
too far from where we camped. And they're in that temple 24/7. And the
yeah,
temple is open and airy, so
yeah.
they could see what's in the sky and such. And
Okay,
I'm like, yeah, dude, I know you saw a UFO. You're just not saying it.
yeah.
And yeah, we find these people very, very strange. I personally, I think they might be aliens, but I don't know.
All
They
right.
say aliens are among us, so
Mm-hmm.
until we actually encounter one, what are we gonna do, right?
All right. And I that's interesting because you ever heard of like the Uinta Basin and Utah kind of has the same thing where there's a lot of UFO activity and things, and it's like, if there's yeah, like having people, if there's a space or a place where these like are coming in and out of, maybe they've got some people on the ground, like I don't know.
Well, they've got to have some kind of base in the area where I'm at because, like I said, keep seeing these UFOs coming in and out of this canyon,
Yeah.
and I want to know what's in this canyon. I haven't gotten to it yet. Um, Canyon looks like a typical canyon with a couple of different odd-looking areas. Obviously, these craft are going into the mesa,
Hmm.
but you don't see that,
Yeah.
right? And gosh, they fly so fast. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Another story about that area is some of the video that I was looking at. We actually captured white orbs menacing jets in the
Yeah.
sky.
Okay.
And that's pretty scary because these pilots don't know that there's a UFO on their butt.
Yeah.
We actually saw one UFO in front of a craft following it as it was going across.
Uh-huh.
Now, we see a lot of aircraft in the sky, jet aircraft,
Yeah.
uh, you know, uh, the TWA and all of these guys.
Hmm.
Um, and I photographed a lot of craft in the sky with video, seeing if I could capture UFOs. I have to get lucky on this. But
Yeah.
the Mothership Incident was right near a jet aircraft,
Okay. Yeah.
and they're not aware. If they're
Hmm.
aware, they're not saying anything. And this is scary because these guys don't know that there's UFOs trailing them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told the FFA that, I'm sure they would jump all over it, right?
Yeah.
You would think. I've got tons and tons of video here and pictures. I've got gigabytes of stuff,
Yeah.
and all of it has something in it,
Hmm.
literally. So,
Yeah.
pretty amazing area. This portal. Um, I haven't given it a name. Maybe I should. Maybe you can
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But this is real. This is very real. I'm not
Hmm.
talking out of my rear end here.
Hmm.
This is actually something that is happening to this earth. It's happening in a lot of places now, and we're seeing a lot of more of it because of social media.
Yeah.
But this amazing story has no end at this point because it continues.
Yeah.
And it's to continue as long as the aircraft are there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be filming. I'm working on getting a drone
Oh
that
yeah.
I can up and over
Ooh,
this
yeah.
so that I can see if I can capture and take pictures. Um, New Mexico MUFON had posted a UFO that a guy had seen out there in Abiquiu.
Uh-huh.
And I asked him about where it was. He did it with a drone
Yeah.
and he captured a UFO underneath the drone. And yeah, it was
Wow.
definitely a UFO coming out of one of the canyons, very, very fast, very
Yeah.
fast. So they're in more than just this area. They have to be, but people aren't seeing them because they're cloaked.
Hmm.
And the cloak doesn't, I mean, the cloak comes up with my video camera and when I take pictures. This I don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't see the craft in front of you, but yet you're doing video and the craft are there. Maybe somebody, excuse me, could explain that to me.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you don't see them, but if you take video or pictures, you do see them. Um, there was one incident where I caught a UFO. It was a semi-cloudy day. Um, Came down on the mesa because I was videoing this area,
Yeah.
and I was watching what I was videoing, and this UFO comes down and then just takes a right turn and follows along the mesa headed towards Los Alamos.
Uh-huh.
So that's the first time I actually physically saw a UFO.
Yeah.
There was another night shot that I got that I posted on my Facebook page of a UFO
Hmm.
where I was filming at night and I caught this strange light in the sky moving and was able to get my camera on it. I actually zoomed on it and took a picture, and the orb that was moving in the sky, which was lit up, had green and violet and blue lights and white lights on it.
Wow.
And it moved real slow as it disappeared over the mesa. I caught it at night. I was really excited about that one. I see a lot of them at night, but I'm just starting to video them now. They're really, really hard to follow.
Yeah.
Again, I'm an amateur using my DSLR, so I'm shaky and
Yeah.
I'm really nice tripod, but I'm trying to get better at it. I really am. I'm no
Yeah.
expert when it comes to photography. I would love to take somebody out there, one of these major UFO buffs from
Yeah.
like Ancient Aliens or something like that,
Oh yeah.
and show them what's going
Hmm.
on. Tell them, let's take all your sophisticated cameras, let's take your night vision,
Yeah.
let's
Let's get
do
you.
it. And I wish I could find somebody like that that had all this equipment that I could take out there.
Yeah.
It would have to really be a secret meeting with them. I don't want them to get this information out to the government because
Yeah.
I want to get it out to the public without saying where this area is. And if
Hmm.
I introduce people into this area, they're going to know.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to be really, really, really careful with this. I do not want the government involved.
Of course.
I could go to the state police and say, "Hey, I've seen a UFO," and they're going to sit there and laugh at me
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
still make a report, but they're not going to do anything about it. You
Hmm.
know, I I could go to the FBI,
Yep.
could go to the FAA. I won't go to MUFON. I know that there's some other UFO reporting agencies out there, but these people really aren't doing anything other than saying, "Hey, this guy saw a UFO and blah blah blah," and then it's on to the next
Yep. Yep.
one. Um, I want people interested in this and saying, "Hey, this guy found where UFOs are coming in and out of on a daily basis on our Earth.
Yeah.
What's going on here? How come more people aren't aware of it?" I'm so happy that you contacted me. I can finally
Yeah,
start
man.
getting the word out.
Hey, of course. And like this is, yeah,
I
I'd love to get you some, like exposure on that, and just like, find the people that would be able to do something about it or something like that. And yeah, I hope that you find even more with everything that you're going to be doing out there. I just a couple more questions just
yeah.
before we wrap it up here. But so you don't want the obviously to have any of the like the government or anybody kind of getting their hands in there. Do you know if they must know something's going on, right?
Well, that's a good question. And that thought has come up several times as to whether the government knows that they're there or not.
Yeah.
The guy that owns the land has told me on a couple of occasions that the military has sent fighter jets,
Mm-hmm.
helicopters right through that canyon
Yeah.
out of the clear blue. And I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, they just came through screaming through the canyon, and then the helicopters came. They were flying low, they were really loud."
Yeah.
And I'm really, I started putting two and two together. The only time that military do that is when there's an alert.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They, they've alerted on something. They're out there to check out what the hell it is.
Yeah.
You think about it. I think it would be really stupid of the military or the government didn't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but then again, they don't know about a lot of stuff.
That
And
is
then they
true.
know about a lot of stuff, and they won't tell us. The government gets a hold of this, they're going to put it under the carpet, dude. They don't want this out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this gets out, and and they're trying disclosure now, but they're giving
Yeah.
us little tidbits.
Yeah.
Look at crap. Come on, if you're going to disclose, just come out and say it. Hey, we've got UFOs, we have aliens, we're interacting with them.
Yeah.
Uh, we know that they're there, blah, blah, blah. The government doesn't do that. They don't want to know because of all the secret crap they're doing with these UFOs.
Yeah.
The back engineering,
Mm-hmm.
they come up with crap like the TR-3B,
Yeah.
which is our military, but where did the military get this technology?
Yeah. They're trying to
Right?
get it from the alien craft or back in, as you said, back engineering or
Engineering this stuff. So I'm like 50-50 on it. I don't know whether they know about it.
yeah,
They're not saying anything if they do.
that is true. Yeah.
I'm going to try. My goal here is to capture a craft really close.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps another close encounter of the first kind.
Yeah.
Will I ever see it in my lifetime again? Probably not. But if I do, thank God.
Yeah.
I want to capture it really, really close. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a package together of data, and I'm going to send it to all the local and all the other news agencies, ABC, NBC, CBS,
Yeah.
the major news outlets with this package. Because if the government gets wind of this and they get a hold of me and get
Yeah.
wind on me, they're
Yeah.
going to depend on me. I already know it. They're going to make
Mhm.
me secret about this. I can't say another word. You're
Yeah.
blacking out. And if you
Yeah.
don't, we're going to do something drastic to you.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. So if something like that is imminent and it's going to happen, I'm going to distribute these packs out to the news agencies and tell them, okay, listen,
Yeah.
this is what the government is telling you. You've got a UFO portal in your backyard.
Yep.
There's UFOs coming in and out of it constantly. We have the proof.
Yeah.
Let's get it out on the news and let people know that there's this crap going on,
Yeah.
So
Well, that's amazing. Just the whole story. And so and just like one last question, I guess, because I got a couple here, but I suppose you kind of answered what I was gonna ask, which would be like what's next for the New Mexico UFO hunting channel.
yeah,
Collecting that data,
yeah.
trying to get more information and get into that canyon. Now, other than I say like UFOs or aliens, would you had any other like supernatural encounters at all?
I do.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why I'm privy to this. I don't know what's special about me.
Yeah.
Um, I've had not ghost, but spirit encounters.
Okay. Yeah.
Something you want to hear about?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually.
Um, my dad died a week before my 13th birthday.
Okay.
And I think it was him that was haunting the house because I remember on one occasion, this would started it all. We lived in a neighborhood, older neighborhood.
Yeah.
The door that we had was solid oak and it had a mail flap in it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the mail flap made a certain sound when you opened and closed it.
Yeah.
And you knew that the mail was coming through because you could hear it opening
Uh-huh.
and closing. We also had a screen door that was very noisy. I mean, you
Yeah.
could hear it opening. In any case, I came home late one night. It was younger. It was probably maybe a couple of months after my dad had died.
Yeah.
And I went to bed. Nobody was home. It was just me.
Mhm.
And I had just gotten into bed and just closed my eyes when I hear the mail flap open and close.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting in my bed with my eyes wide open, like, what the heck was that? I just heard the mail flap open and close. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, the next thing I'm going to hear is somebody knocking at the door or coming through the door.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And then I sat there and I'm like, wait a minute, the screen door didn't open. I would have heard the screen door open.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there frozen in my bed as a young kid, and I hear the mail flap open and close again. And it
Mhm.
wasn't just quick, it was like somebody was peering in the mail.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. So I jumped up out of my bed. I grabbed a hunting knife that I had.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe somebody was trying to get in the house or something.
Yeah.
I appear at the edge. I come to the doorway of my bedroom and I look down the hallway towards where the living room, where the front door is. And I'm peering out there, staring at it to see if there's anything there. And the mail flap opens and
Yeah.
it's open and there's nothing there. I could see it. There was nothing through it.
Yeah.
And it opened and then it closed. And I'm like, holy crap, there's something there. So I grab my knife. I run to the dining room. I start throwing on all these lights. I run to the front door. I unlock it. I open the front door and I lunge with a knife. And there's nothing there. No wind. Screen door is closed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, what the heck was that?
Uh-huh.
That's the first time it happened.
Yeah.
Second time, same house, sitting in the living room by myself. My mom worked the graveyard shift.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't home during that time. It was like 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm sitting in the living room watching TV, watching some cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you look straight across from where I'm sitting, you can see the dining room. We have a sliding glass door on the dining room.
Mhm.
It has a screen door. The screen door was extremely difficult to open.
Yeah.
It's one of those that you have to kind of like,
Oh.
help it along to get it to open because it's so difficult. It was closed and locked. And I'm sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden something tells me to turn my eyes towards the screen door. And
Yeah.
I look at the door, and the screen starts to open by itself very smoothly without any interruption. And I'm sitting there like, whoa! And I got up off my seat and I ran out of the house.
Yeah.
I ran to the neighbors, to my friends, and I told them what happened. And they're all sitting there laughing at me like, yeah, right, yeah, right. You're just hearing and seeing things.
Yeah.
I finally chilled out from that and I went back to the house and I told my mom what had happened and stuff. And she just kind of looked at me weird. And, the next day I have my friend over at the house and we're both sitting there watching TV this time.
Yeah.
And the screen door opens all by itself.
Oh man.
And my friend got to see it. Yeah, we run out of the house, scared as all hell, run back to their place, and we stayed there for a while. Yeah, I think he was definitely in that house doing these kind of things. We
Yeah.
saw a shadow person
Mm-hmm.
in the side of my house after that as well.
Yeah.
That energy carried on with me. It continued to follow me.
Yeah.
I always felt my dad's present, but I really had nothing kind of crazy happen to me until I moved into this one house
Yeah.
where I had what is the activity you call when a spirit or a ghost is throwing plates and
Oh, poltergeist activity.
poltergeist activity.
Yeah.
It started with the blinds in the house moving by itself.
Uh-huh.
There was no air. The
Oh.
windows were closed. There's no heat or nothing. And that's the first thing I noticed. One time I had a girlfriend there. We had just eaten dinner
Yeah.
and we were sitting on the couch listening to music. And all of a sudden, all the dishes from my cabinet come flying out on the floor.
Oh, dude. Oh man.
And I'm like, the girl and I just jumped up. We were like, what the heck was that? I ran into the kitchen and my dishes were all over the floor. And I'm looking at it like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So like, what do you have in your house? And I'm like, Hal, I don't know. After that, I had talked to a white witch. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with white witches?
I guess the good witches.
Yeah.
I know that there's like black and white magic. Yeah.
She was a good witch. I met
Uh-huh.
her through my brother.
Nice.
And I talked to her about the activity and she gave me a piece of turquoise.
Uh-huh.
She said, here, hold this turquoise, and next time something happens, tell them that you don't want them around you anymore. And they'll go away. So I did that and it stopped.
Yeah.
My son died
Yeah.
when he was just before his 13th birthday, God bless him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was living in my house with my first wife, I could always feel his presence.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of times it was when we were in the bed, just watching TV, winding down, getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I would get a real cold feeling come over the front of me.
Hmm.
I mean, cold, 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 cold. Your whole house was warm, and you'd feel
Yeah.
this fear of cold, and it'd be there for 3 or 4 seconds, and then it would go away.
Yeah.
I would always be like, "Yeah, son, I know you're there. I feel you."
Yeah.
It would happen periodically, and my first wife always thought that it was him because she wouldn't feel the cold. I would feel it, and
Uh-huh.
then she'd go over to my area, and she could feel the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that spirits are synonymous with that kind of situation as well.
Yeah.
Never saw a ghost,
Hmm.
but did have that kind of paranormal activity, the poltergeist activity. So
Yeah.
yeah, stuff has followed me around. I don't have any activity like that going on with me now, thank God.
Yeah. Got that
I am
turquoise.
very, yeah, I'm very aware of it, but yeah, thank God that I don't have anything like that going on anymore.
Oh,
But
wow.
I hope that answers your question.
That does it completely. And thank you so much for all the stories. Thank you for sharing. I would like to obviously at some point, possibly in the future, have another interview with you.
Yeah,
Seeing what
definitely.
you find.
Yeah.
Of
If I have something really strange occur, it would be really nice to talk to you about it and
course.
get it out there.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just want to say where everybody can find you, your Facebook pages and everything like that.
Yes, sir. My Facebook page is New Mexico UFO Hunter, all spelled out. I've got a YouTube page up currently,
Oh,
but I
perfect.
haven't really posted anything to it. I'm trying to get video that is very definitive so that people can see these things.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of degradation with the video when you put it on YouTube. So it's
Yes.
not always as clear as it could be, and you need this clearness in order to see these objects. So
Yes.
yeah, Facebook pretty soon you'll be able to find me, New Mexico UFO Hunter on Facebook and on
Excellent.
YouTube.
Perfect. All right,
All right.
guys, everybody head over there, give him, check him out, check out his videos. There's a lot of interesting stuff over there. And thank you
Thumbs
again,
up.
sir. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on. And I'll get everything over to you as soon as possible. So, of
All right. Thank you for having me.
course, sir. Thank you.